merge the two. As a project developer, I have to get involved with pre-construction, so that could be getting involved with the project right from the start, involved even purchasing the land, feasibility studies, taking it right through to construction.
Probably one of the best parts of my job is I get to meet and to do my job with so many different people. For example, I would never have met you guys if I hadn't got this industry and involved with Novus.
Got involved with the Student Challenge. That was my first initial experience of the COB and in particular Novus, or what Novus could be. I met some of the people within the branch and went along to a few of the CPD events and just got a little bit excited at the fact that I could obviously meet like-minded people and talk to people within the industry and look at a way of developing my career and going through the routes to progression to eventually become MCIOB.
I got involved with CIOB Novus because one of the branch administrators phoned me up and thought that I would quite like to get involved. And the main reason why I really turned up at that local pub that evening is because I wanted to actually give something back to the construction industry because it's given me so much. And the people at the CIOB helped me greatly through getting to my membership. I just wanted to give something back and hopefully encourage some younger people just to actually say this is a fantastic industry to be in and it should be at the top of everyone's list to look into.
I went to a presentation at university through Novus and the students were asking why do we work in construction?
That's the main thing I always get asked.
Yeah, and I think it's very important to make everybody understand, especially students, young professionals, why we get involved in construction. For example, myself, I got involved because I wanted a job that changed my life, not just financially, because obviously there is a financial benefit of working in construction compared to other industry, but it's the fact that we provide something real to everybody, to a community. It's not something that we do for ourselves. Whatever we do at work is to the benefit of the entire community, regionally, nationally and worldwide as well.
I think that's the biggest problem in construction. We never sing and shout about what we do and what we're good at and how we do it. People take the buildings for granted. We could be a school.
Don't see the thought that goes behind it, do they?
No. And the fact that I always bang on about is the fact that how many intelligent people work in construction, and yet outside of it, it's sometimes looked upon as the industry where you go into if you can't do anything else, and that's just false.
There's a stereotype where everybody thinks construction is kind of, it's an industry where you go, you get dirty. It's not.
It's not always like that.
It's not always like that.
You look fantastic all the time.
Thank you.
How I started in construction, to be honest, it wasn't my first career choice when I was choosing my university degree, and I really only picked construction as a route for my career really in the latter stages of my degree when I was looking for a job. I went into it because I wanted to be not only just office based, I wanted to be outside as well, and this career gave me the opportunity to be in an office environment, outside of the office environment, but still have the potential of having a managerial professional career. Where I'd like to see myself in 10 years' time is probably I'd like to be a managing director of a division of my company, and that's something that I want to aim for, that's something that I want to be.
When I was young, I wanted to be a farmer in Italy, and my plan now is I don't want to become a farmer anymore because I've got my job, I love construction and what I do, but I do plan to build my own farmhouse one day, maybe when I retire.
I think that's what's good, because if you had chosen this industry at 16, if you changed your mind and you wanted to do something different, you could actually alter your role and alter your job within, but still stay within the industry. So that's what's quite nice about it. So if you did get bored, say, I don't know, being an actual site manager, you could then move on and say, actually I want to go into consultancy, or I want to do my own business, or I want to build my own, or I want to go to refurb rather than new build, I want to do commercial rather than residential. It is all so much that actually, if you pick that industry, it doesn't mean you have to just stay in that role.
No.
It's got such a varied amount of different roles, you can just pick whatever you like, can't you? The world's your oyster really, if you go to construction.
You just need passion and determination.
Yeah.
Nothing is impossible. You just need to work hard to
Yeah.
achieve it. And that's the key, really.
Well, I think that pretty much sums it up. So if you want to find out more, get in touch.
Okay, well, thanks to the people that started Novus. We've now got a really good group going. There's Novus branches all around the UK now. They're actually gradually opening up in the international countries as well. So obviously you've seen the sign over here, you've got all the information on there. You've got leaflets in your bags. I always told you a lot about it already. Since Novus has been going, the age has come down from that 53. Average age is mid-40s now. We've got a lot more people coming through to become chartered in their 20s and 30s. We've even got people that are fellows by the time they're 30 as well. And to be a fellow, you do have to have 10 years plus of senior management experience, giving something back to the industry. So it's great that a lot more people are actually setting themselves and putting back into the industry something to help really for the people that are coming through. There's lots of reasons for joining the CIOB. Novus is a part of that, but you don't have to sign up to become anything extra. Just for the fact that you're currently a student member and that you're in the early stages of your career covers you so that you are included in everything that is Novus. Whether it be an event that we're doing, some campaign that we're doing, you will be included in that. Okay. I've also got a video explaining what Novus is about, so if you're ready for another one, I can show you one more. This will be the last of
So
these
it's
types of
23
videos.
minutes, I think.
Yeah, this is a short one. Okay. And it is Jason again, who's one of the...
Hi, my name is Jason Margits and I'm a chair of the Novus Group, and I'm here to tell you why working in construction is the best job in the world. Construction is an industry where your actions speak louder than words. The harder you work, the more you perform, the more you will succeed. I'm lucky that every morning I wake up and look forward to the day, because no two projects are the same. You get to play with big toys. You meet interesting people, and the best kept secret, some of the most intelligent people work in construction. I worked on a project in Peru at the base of a volcano in a small village called Chichana, where they had no running water apart from 1 hour a day, which was about 5 AM. My skills working in construction allowed me to build a tanked water supply system that allowed the village to have running water with proper sanitation throughout the day. The biggest thing about working in construction is you're part of a small piece of a very large puzzle. The industry is a global contributor to the worldwide economy. Everybody needs buildings, whether they're hospitals when we're born, schools to learning when we're growing up, offices, factories, whatever to work in, and somewhere to live. All of these structures need to be built, and they're built by construction professionals. Novus is a group within the Chartered Institute building which is designed to allow its younger members to progress their careers and get to meet like-minded people and construction professionals. For instance, student members, by coming along to any Novus event, you'll get to meet construction directors, project managers, site managers, technical directors. You'll get to meet people that will be able to tell you real-life industry stories and give you advice and tell you how they progressed their careers from whatever background they took. Maybe they went through trade background, went through graduate, through university, whichever one it may be, you'll get to meet those people. Chartered Institute building, and particularly Novus, gives young professionals the leap that they need to meet other professionals and develop and progress their careers. So what is the CIOB? Well, the official line is as a modern, progressive, responsible voice for the built environment. Well, what it really is a real-life network for the best construction professionals. Basically, we aim to promote the built environment. The CIOB aims to achieve a sustainable future worldwide. It advocates ethical practice and behaviour and has thousands of members which fulfil any international football stadium. Being part of the CIB has allowed me to meet amazing people. In my phone are contacts of people that have built Disneyland Paris, the Petronas Towers, 7-star hotels in Dubai, London, Sydney and the Beijing Olympics. I'm always asked what the benefits of being a member. Well, it's a framework of opportunity, there's career enhancement, employer recognition, there's the potential for financial gain, development and networking, and CIB offers you worldwide opportunities if you want them. The CIB has branches all over the world that arrange career enhancing CPD events. It's definitely worth getting involved. I'm proud to have CIB Novus at the heart of my career.
Music's good, isn't it?
I'm the one chasing up about that.
I think you will. Okay. So the different opportunities that there are for students, some of you would have already been receiving those benefits. The support that you get from our Novus committee, from other people, rub those eyes, and other people in industry that you can meet through the CIB, that is really obviously very important to you. We've got scholarships and awards that we have for students. We have an award every year for somebody that's just finished their second year on a degree, and that person is chosen by the university. They get £500 scholarship fund award, and then when they've done their dissertation, that comes back to the CIB to help us with our research. So that's an example of one of them. We've got a sustainability scholarship and an architecture and surveying scholarship as well. They're worth £3,000 to the graduate that takes those on. So they're all sort of things that you need to look out for. Really to boost yourself. It puts your name out there as well at the same time as obviously doing something useful and getting yourself a bit of funding behind you as well. We said about getting yourself noticed, stand out from the crowd. Obviously there are a lot of people studying construction topics, all looking for jobs. One of our Novus committee has just started work 3 weeks ago on his first full-time job. He has done all the right things, he joined as a student member, but it's still a tough world. He did end up getting a few job offers, and he's happily settled into a new role now. But he still was up against 30 others for every job he went for. Interview processes are tough, so you do have to make sure that you do everything you possibly can, really. And a lot of what you know goes a long way, but it's still who you know sometimes. So do get to know the people, get to know employers, find out who got a job through, who maybe get a few tips really. Our Novus team are very good at helping when it comes to interview techniques, give you some tips. Even when it comes to your CVs, you do things in uni, you've got employer services in uni. However, it's probably a good idea to actually speak to people that are actually in the industry you want to be into as well. Because obviously it's a bit generic sometimes. What works for one industry doesn't necessarily work for another. So online we've got the social media sites for CIB, and we've got one for our London branch as well, on each of Facebook, LinkedIn and also Twitter. LinkedIn, I'm on there as well, so if you want to look me up and connect on there. And then obviously you can start getting involved in the groups that we've got. We've got a Novus group on there, a sustainability group, and a main London branch one as well. You'll see lots of things coming up on there, things that are topical in the industry, things that we pick up from construction news, plus what's going on within the CIB as well. So there's lots of things that you can pick up. Plus you can also use LinkedIn to, when you are doing your dissertation and you've got these surveys as I was talking about, you can actually post them on there as well. So it gives you an opportunity to link in with a lot of members. It'll give you an opportunity to push that through as well. If you're doing research, you've got assignments to do, we've got an online library. We actually have a physical library as well. If you need research papers, you can get in touch with the people that work within that library section. They can email things to you, they can actually send out hard copies of books if you need them. And that's another benefit that you will get as student members. So do use them if you need it. Don't sit there wondering what to do. Get on the phone, ask somebody if you're not sure. And we've also got our CPD events, which you've got a calendar for in each of your bags, which are the physical events where you can go to, you can make the most of the networking at the same time. But we've also now got online CPD. So you can actually, in your own time, when it suits you, register, and then you can choose which subject you would like to do. probably if something's coming up that you need to do some work for, have a search. If there's something relevant, you can pick up on that. CPD is something that all members have to do in all of the professional bodies. You have to do that every year. It does get monitored, you have to log it. So whether you're a student going through to incorporated membership, right the way up to a fellow, everybody has to do it. It's something that you can never give up on. You're always learning and always expecting to be up to date. Otherwise you can't be classed as a chartered professional. Benefits as well, we've covered most of this already, but there's lots of things in there we've talked about. The opportunities abroad, the money side of things, you can actually earn more money and own your company more money. But recognition at the bottom there is the key one really. If you can get a certificate at the end of the degree, you're going to be all proud of that. But if you can actually get a certificate and go for a graduation ceremony because you are a chartered professional, chartered construction manager, that's something else as well. And it's serious enough that when you become a doctor, for instance, if you mess up, you're unethical, they take it away from you. It's the same with construction. If you've got that professional marking against yourself, you have to be professional at all times. So it's something that you've really got to be proud of and you look after it. So hopefully you've got it in for life. Okay, we've said about how diverse our members are, and they literally, we could go on and go around the room with all the different job titles that we've got of members. So there is no such thing as a typical member, other than the fact that they are all got the same ideas and the same work ethic, same professional code of conduct that they follow, and they're all in management in the construction industry, the built environment, lots of different roles. Wherever you start off, it's quite often that you will diversify at some point, and being within the CIOB, you can obviously make those contacts, find out what people do. I might like to do that, I'll have a word with them, try something new, and you're learning all the time then. There's no time to get forward. Now the events calendars that you will have, it only goes as far as January on that at the moment, so it's been quite a busy last couple of months. But we're starting to plan for next year now. The thing that we've got coming up in the next couple of weeks, we've got a student challenge. I don't know if any of you have ever taken part or will be taking part in the student challenge that we're doing this year. It's a competition where you're given a project brief and you have 2 weeks to plan a presentation to come and see our panel of judges. The 2 teams that come top in London will then go on to a final a couple of weeks later to compete for the actual main prize. Within the prizes, there's gift vouchers sponsored by Hayes Recruitment. We've got masterclasses sponsored by Hill International Consultancy. And we've also got work experience with United House. They have sponsored our student challenges a couple of times, as have Osborne as well. So there are companies out there that offer work experience to students that will put themselves forward and actually show at an early stage their passion really and enthusiasm. Show what we've learned so far. So January we've got a tour of the Houses of Parliament organised with the Novus Group. That's already up to about 18 people booked and we've got 25 places. So if you are interested, do that pretty quick because we're already filling up on that. That's on Friday afternoon. And at the end of January, we've got to meet the President night. Our President for the CIB is based in Kuwait. He's one of the top academics in the Middle East. He's in the top 10, I believe. He's been working over in the UK previously, and he's based in Manchester. So he's the President of the CIB for a year, and he's coming over in January. He's going to come to London, and he's going to speak with members at all different levels, students right the way through to fellows, people in all different areas of the construction industry, and be there to tell you his point of view and also to listen and find out what things you want to know from him. So come up with some questions. We're going to have a way that you can put questions to him. Come along on the night. We've also got some awards that night for students. There's a guy from here coming to get an award. So do come along and support your fellow students as well. Then throughout next year, we've got a few things where we need to obviously firm up dates, so it's quite vague what we've got on there. We've got the Global Student Challenge, which is something that took part for the first time last year. There's a couple of people in this room that actually took part in it, I believe. It's one there. Where's the other one? Behind you. Yeah. So you've already done that. Enjoy it? Yeah. Yeah. challenge every week for about 6 weeks. And then the top teams from that will then go on and take part in the finals. The finals were in Hong Kong, so there was 4 team members and lecturer will get going out to Hong Kong for I think it was 6 days. So good experience on that. Obviously very competitive, gets to meet lots of people, lots of opportunities to meet people high up within the CIB and obviously international connections as well. There were teams from Hong Kong, Australia, the UK, I think it was Scotland and 2 from England, wasn't it? Yeah, that all went to the finals. So if that's something that interests you and you think that sounds like a great opportunity, do look out for that. We'll be starting off with the teams being selected in January time and it all starts off in February. And then during the summer is when you get the trip to Hong Kong if you make it through to the final stages. So Christine will be able to give you more information and coordinate teams and see more information. During the coming sort of semester really, we've got a couple of events going on within other universities. We do hope to rotate things so that each university gets visits from us to have an event in-house if you like. But you're all very welcome to come to any of the ones that we do elsewhere. We're going to be doing something on dissertation, we're going to be doing some mock interviews, sessions purely on the PDP route, if that's something of interest. Routes to membership, if it's something that you don't perhaps fit into the PDP for whatever reason, whether you go on to do a role that doesn't allow you to do that, there may be reasons for it. So there's lots of different things that you can do. We've got the Crossrail talk, we have an annual treasure hunt, which is a real good bit of fun in London. Everybody meets in Trafalgar Square on Saturday afternoon, get set a load of challenges to do in your teams, you go off, come back a couple of hours later after having visited a particular landmark to do a challenge, take photos of certain buildings at certain angles, measure things. You even have to pop into a pub and do a challenge there, which is really tricky. Nobody wants to do that part, of course. And then everybody meets afterwards for a drink and sort of give out the prizes. And again, that's another good one to get to know people as well. It doesn't all have to be about sitting in a lecture theatre. There's a lot more to it. So this one here will show you what your qualification means within the CIB. So if you look on the side where you've got your Bachelor's Honours degree, which is what you're all doing, I believe, that will be a level 6 qualification. Your qualification means that you can go as far up as becoming MCIOB with that qualification, provided you have the experience to go with it. When you graduate, you'll be given the holding level of ICIB, which just means you're a corporate member. So you've got student at the bottom, then you've got your A and your I, and you're all heading for M. But your qualification will allow you to do that without further study. All you need to do is get the work experience. Some of you obviously have already started work, so that puts you in good stead for that. If you were a graduate, I'd say somebody came to me and said, I graduated 7 years ago, can I become MCIB now? If they've had 3 years management experience and they've got a construction related degree, yes they can. If it's a non-construction related degree, they would need 5 years experience. So that's how the standard rule applies, which means that you can then apply for professional review. However, those of you that are doing degrees, which is all in the room, if you can then get this PDP that we've talked about already, if you can get onto that programme, that's something that can get you chartered a lot quicker. It makes it more structured for you. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how you can progress to that. There's a booklet for you in those bags you've got as well, all about the PDP, so that will explain a bit more. But basically it's a work-based group. So you need your employer to support you in what you're doing. It helps employers, it helps you, and it can make sure that every box gets ticked on the way. When you're doing just the professional review, it's not just the professional review at all. But if you were to do that route, it's the same boxes that need ticking, but in a different style. You would actually have to go back after your 3 years or 5 years and try and put into words in a little box like this to prove that you are qualified in that competence, which is not easy to do. You do have to really think and put a lot of work into a small amount of words. PDP allows you to do it as you go along. So you can constantly check on how far you've got, and you can see what you're doing, and you know where you've got to push it up, and maybe you can ramp it up a bit to get a bit further.
It's probably worth noting that while I have to do the PDP and the panel review, that's not the way it is now.
No, it is either or now. If you do PDP, the professional review, you bypass that. And as soon as you finish PDP, you are chartered. You don't have to go through an interview or complete the 9 to 11 page document. 2 pages of it are just with personal details, but there's 9 pages of written writing, which you don't have to do if you do PDP.
You can do it if you want to, but it's not mandatory.
So anybody can do PDP as long as you're a graduate. Okay? So the benefits there for you. You see, it will help you plan what you're doing to progress. Otherwise you're just sort of muddling along day to day, working away and not really thinking about what you're doing. This makes sure that you are structured and you know what your plans are. Okay? It can be transferred between employers, it can be transferred between projects. If you start in this country and went to the Middle East to work, you can carry it on. Okay, so it recognises how well you're doing constantly. Employers, a lot of employers are now coming to us. We've got a PDP team at our head office, and they actually come out and they say, we've got 20 graduates that we want to put through PDP, and they're doing it en masse. So a lot of companies are becoming much more aware of it now. It hasn't been around that long, but it is something that is a good way for companies to do it as well. They can obviously monitor what you're doing as well. It makes their training programme perhaps be a little bit easier to manage because they know and they can get reports from this system to tell them how well you're doing and everything. So these are the units that you have to cover. It's the same competencies as the professional review report if you were to go that route. So it doesn't matter what you do, what you have to prove is the same. Okay. So this is ideal for people that, if you're on a sandwich course for instance, or you're working part-time for 6 months over the summer, or you've just got a placement and you're doing a bit of work, you can start working on this straight away. Once you're a member of the CIB, you can do it as a student if you're obviously still studying part-time or in between courses, or once you graduate, you automatically would upgrade to your ICIB and you get started on it then. So it's either way depending on what your work and study situation is. But you can start ticking the boxes a year before you graduate if you're working for a placement year, you've got another year to go, or you're a part-timer. And then by the time you actually get out to full-time work, you've made good progress already. A lot of people who start this after graduation can do it within 18 months to 2 years without problem. It does obviously depend on your employer and what they expose you to and how much support they give you to make sure that you are given the right experience. But it is very easily done, so you can become chartered within a couple of years. Some people even quicker. If you've already got a year's work experience and you can pass after that before you even get out there, you'll be chartered easily. The occupational and the management, obviously that's quite self-explanatory on there, but the professional judgment and CPD, you do actually need to record all the CPD you do. So whether it's coming to an event, doing something online with our CPD, going to a CPD with our ICS, reading Construction Manager magazine, doing research into something that you're doing, new technology, something like that. That all counts towards CPD, so you have to log it. And we've got a code of ethics, and you need to write about that as well for the third section there. And the CPD commitment, you do actually have to prove what you're going to be doing over the next year as well. So you have to talk about what you've done previously and what you're going to be doing. So that they know that you're always thinking about how to improve yourself.
I mean, it sounds onerous now. You'd be surprised at how easy it is just to fall into the habit of logging what you do. Because the evidence is that you're doing it as you go along your day-to-day journey. So just make sure you log it, and you put it in the area as past box tick.
Okay, so this is what you would do. You would either sign up for PDP now if you're already working or you've got some work experience there, or once you've finished your studies next summer, as soon as you've got your certificate, send it off to our membership team, they'll upgrade you to ICIB. You won't be billed straight away for the ICOB fee or anything. That will come into effect the following January. We do all our billing at once. So it's not that you get it partway through the year, but obviously you can get those letters you can use and say, I'm now ICOB and I'm working towards MCOB on the PDP route, so get that done as soon as you possibly can. You need then to get your employer to approve it, hopefully support it both financially and in the workplace to make sure that you're given the right exposure. You need to get an assessor, which can be an employer, it sometimes can be your lecturer, it can be somebody outside of that completely if you haven't got somebody within that can do that. They do need to be a chartered member of the CIOB or of another professional organisation in construction. Okay. And complete the registration. This is pretty much as simple as that. There is a fee to join the PDP of £300, and at the end, when you complete it, there's a final stage payment of £150. So for that, you would then be charged. That's a much better way to do it.
I would just say, as someone who regularly hires people, I interview people regularly and hire new people into my team and others. The CVs for me that stand out are people who you can tell are taking an interest in their own personal and professional development. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with just listing what you're good at, skills, previous jobs, degree, but if you can show some foresight in your through your CV by saying, here's where I want to be in 5 years by doing this, that's a lot more attractive to an employer who's thinking about taking someone on. Okay? You always want someone who's looking ahead and looking for the next challenge, rather than just the perception of being at a level and staying at that level.
So you sign up for the PDP and you get your PDP e-portfolio. So everything's done online. You would upload all your evidence as you go through, and everything gets checked as you're going along, so you always know where you are with it. If you're uploading things, you don't have to sit there and think, I've got no idea if this is right or wrong, is it good enough? You will get feedback all the time. So your assessor will be able to access this as well. So they can sign off sections for you and say that yes, that's what you've done, and then have the support of the CIOB as well, because we have internal verifiers that will give you feedback. And once they've ticked the box that it's complete, you can then know that that section is completely done and you know what's left to do. I'm just going to show you a very short video. This one shows you the e-portfolio so you know what it looks like.
Welcome to the CIOB ePortfolio for the Professional Development Programme. The PDP is a work-based route to chartered membership. The ePortfolio provides candidates with portfolio building and assessment tools that allows the candidate to safely and securely store evidence ready for assessment by their own assessor. Once you have registered onto the programme, you will be given access to your own portfolio. From your homepage, you will have access to resources and videos that will help you get started. Your course folder shows a summary of your course structure. Each unit is broken down into elements, and you can clearly see the progress you have made in each element. Clicking on the element takes you to the element page. This is where you upload your evidence to the unit and submit your competence claim once the unit is complete. Your contact diary records your assessor's comments regarding the evidence. Your evidence folder lists all your evidence, and you can use your evidence across any number of relevant units. News and events lets you know of anything of interest. Forums will help you answer any issues you may have by putting you in touch with others on the programme. The PDR allows you to record your CPD details. You can stay in touch with your assessor and internal verifier using the message function. The ePortfolio allows you and your assessor to review your evidence and progress remotely, making a much more efficient use of your time.
I told you it was a short one, didn't I?
Hi, my name is Jason Morris, and I'm.
We've had enough of this. Okay, so these are the types of things that you can upload to prove your competence. So there's lots of different things on there that you'll be doing during work. Keep a record of what you're doing, and then you can prove whether it's the decision making, managing the quality, health and safety, whatever category it is that you are looking at to prove your competence. These are all the types of things that you can use. Okay, if you're going on a course, it says down there, don't rely on a course certificate to say you're competent. It doesn't mean that at all. You actually have to be proving it in your employment. That's the whole point of this, is to actually show that you've got the experience and you're actually putting it into practice. So there's the role of the assessor and the internal verifier. You should have meetings with them. It doesn't have to be face to face if it's not feasible, not logistical, but you must have obviously regular contact and work together really to plan what you need to do to meet the next stage of your progress. The contact diary will be used so that you know what's what, and they can tell you whether you need to add a bit more information, give you some feedback as you're going along. And so you can see then, going by that video, when the box is ticked right at the end by the verifying, you're ready to go. Once you've got all those boxes ticked, that's it to send it through. So if you go on, have that final approval to get that signed off for you. So just go back onto the CPD. We've talked about the policy that we have to do it, we have to record it. Make sure you do have a selection of CPD. Don't rely on all online. Don't rely on all reading material. It does need to be a balance. And it does need to be a balance of content as well. A bit of technology, innovation, a bit of management skills, so that you can show that you are doing a bit of everything, making sure you're up to date on legislation, building regulations, health and safety issues. So make sure you do that, otherwise you are out of date. Okay, so once you've completed, everything gets signed up, goes through the quality control process. No more interview, so you're lucky you don't have to do what I did and sit obviously those scary people.
It was alright.
And then you'll become SCIB, and then you're chartered. So for anybody that wants any, come up and ask any questions privately, you can do that, or email me, that's no problem. Or if you've got any other questions that everybody wants to answer here, you can do that afterwards as well. But just, if anybody is not a student member already, please go online and sign up. It's completely free for full-time students. If you're part-time, it's £25 a year. Once you graduate, you'll need to upgrade to your ICIB next year once you've got that certificate that you can send through. And then get registered on your PDP, unless you've already done that and you're ready to go, but you're already working. So that's the main point really, student membership. And where we've got down the bottom there, take part in what we do. The more you do, the more you will get out of it. So don't just sit there and think, oh, I can't bother to do that. It's really worth making the effort. We had an event last night and people came along that were a bit sceptical, a bit wary maybe of what a CIB event would be like, but they came away from it buzzing and it was really worth it. And the feedback we had is brilliant. So a lot of those were students, so it's worth getting involved with it. So please do. So there's contact details on there. We've also got everything like that in your little booklets and the leaflets that you've got in your bags. And then make sure you do get involved and start thinking about it now. Don't leave it until you've finished your studies. Make sure you get involved straight away. So follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Make sure you use all the resources that are there for your students and try and make some good connections and get started on those PDPs. Have we got any questions for anybody? I must have told you so much, you know it all now.
I remember sitting in that lecture actually when someone came in and started telling us about the professional thing, and it just went there. And then after I graduated, then I realised the importance of it. So.
But if you think of something tomorrow, next week, week after, next year, you know where we are, so please do ask us.
How many hours a year?
It's not a set amount of hours. It's a balance and to prove that you can do enough. There used to be a figure of 30 hours.
That's it, yeah.
But most people do far more than that anyway. So that's based that as an absolute minimum. But there isn't a set fixed amount. They're looking for balance. If it's all 30 hours of one thing, that's pointless. So they want to make sure that you're getting a range of knowledge.
I would just say, I do hope that you got something out of it, and I know it's the end of the day, sometimes it's hard to listen, but the one thing I would say to pick up from Sam is to get your student membership going, because that will always be the constant reminder that, you know, this is the direction you need to be moving. So start with that, and we're going to be far more.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you're going to be filling in an application form after application form if you're full-time, so to have that on your CV does
Where does it go on your CV? Does it go down as a qualification, or is that a bit of a stupid question?
What?
So, say you've got like your BSc honours on your CV, and you list out your HNC and all your BTEC National Diploma and your GCSE. When it goes down, does it go down at the very bottom as another qualification, or is it more like a statement within your summary?
It goes in as your education.
Yeah.
You are being educated on that route. It goes down, as Sam said, as your professional memberships. And you get post-nominals as well. So you then become Joe Blogs, MCIOB.
Once you've graduated, you can't ICIOB.
That's right.
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
So it's that post-nominal.
I just want to say a couple of things really quickly because I'm always very aware after quite a long session it gets satisfied there's a big fidget in the room. So I just want to address a couple of issues before I thank these guys formally. We're so sustainable that Sam has printed all of the London CIOB events programmes for you. This is something to do with Mohammedan Mountain.